Hello, hi. Here we are. Yeah, you might be wondering what's going on here. Well, hopefully this video is attached to the Nexus blog, Glen's Nexus blog. Is that what it's called? I think it is. Yeah, I haven't looked for a little while. I'm doing this video for that blog. This is for Glen's Nexus blog. It should be attached as a link, you know. I'm doing things a bit differently this time. The purpose of this, of me being in front of you here like this, saying hello, you know, is to talk about Nexus Term 2. I was going to say Season 2. Well, it is a bit like that, yeah. But Nexus Term 2, which finishes today, or tonight. It is Saturday the 31st of March 2012. And literally the second term finishes tonight, really, with the third and final staff concert. We had it on Thursday night, we had it on last night, Friday night. I wasn't there Thursday night, I was there last night, and I'm there tonight. It's very, very good. The purpose of this is to sum up the second term, hopefully in a few words. Because obviously I gave a summing up of the first term of Nexus and linked it to the Nexus blog, or it's actually on the Nexus blog, and it was typed. Now, I like typing. Typing is fun. It's fine, but this is more fun. Actually, speaking to you is more fun. So, I might as well get on and tell you. Obviously, I came back up here after the Christmas break. I say break, it wasn't that much of a break. Had a lot of work to do through that time, but it was cool. I came back up on January the 2nd, and was here for a fair few days before the second term started the following Monday. And our first week back was a week of assessments, and I managed to pass those assessments, which was good. Assessments generally consist of being able to play certain pieces in front of the tutor and a third year who's there, being able to play the pieces back to them, you know, adequately or well, whatever, and also being able to, we have a theory test, we have a listening test where we're listening to certain intervals, you know, melodically and in chord form or whatever. Anyway, I don't want to bog you down too much with that. But that's the sort of thing that makes up assessments, and we had those in the first week back in January, and they went okay, you know. I'd done a lot of practice for those over the Christmas period, and it paid off, so that was great. So thank you, Lord, for that, you know. And after that, for the second week of the term, it was very interesting. It was something very different, and it's a one-off week that they have each year about that sort of time of year, January, February. It was called In-Treat Week, and it was really a week of not having lessons and things, or Bible lectures or whatever, well, in the normal sense. It was a week of sort of laying things aside to hear God speaking, to have times of fellowship and worship together, and to be in groups of people where we would get to know people better, and, you know, groups of people we wouldn't necessarily normally be in. So it's always interesting, gets you out of your comfort zone a bit, you know, where you end up with so-and-so and so-and-so, and you think, I don't actually know so-and-so very well. Ooh, you know, do we have much in common? That's always good, really. I mean, never feels good at first, but it always stretches. So I've gone through that quite a bit, which will become apparent. But that's fine, because it stretches us as people. That's cool. It's sort of, you know, that's cool. Out of the comfort zone. So, that was an amazing week. God did really meet with everyone in the college that week, or certainly a lot of people. You know, the college as a whole definitely, you know, quite a sense of God's presence and Him speaking to lots of people in individual ways. And it spoke to me as well, I'm sure, in one or two ways. I could talk more about that in person, I suppose. Would be cool. And you know, we had challenges. We had to, one day, in our teams, we had to go out into Coventry, into the city, and find certain things and get them photographed. And it was a question of which team could bring the most back in that way. Our team didn't win, but that's all right. That's okay. It was quite something to be part of, and it's the taking part that counts, as one wise man once said. Yeah. Well, quite a lot of people have said that, but yeah. So that was in-treat week. So that was very different. It was intense. It was very full on schedule, but it was very worth it. And then we got back to the normal sort of core classes. Core classes are where I might have explained this before, I don't know, but just in case I didn't, they're where we are studying our instrument, basically. So I'm in the keyboard class. It's like an hour a day, really. It's like it's a lesson a day, really, of the 5 days a week, from Monday to Friday, we learn lots about technique and theory and styles and hello, people out the window there, heading off. Yeah. Anyway, that's life going on here. Because remember, I'm not. This isn't antics or anything. This is Coventry. This is Waynebody Avenue. This is 49 Waynebody Avenue South, Coventry. Just seen one or two of my housemates going over to the shop around the corner. So it's very handy having the shop around the corner. The ironic thing is, just as a little diversion, I can see a Subway there from my bedroom window, but I've never been to it. That's cool. Anyway, right. Sorry. Yeah. So back to the general flow. Have I really been nearly 7 minutes already? Oh my goodness! All right, I better get on. Don't want to keep you forever. You probably haven't got time in your schedule. So it was back to normal in the third week. Back to normal sort of schedules and the live playing workshops where because I posted 1 or 2 videos of those, haven't I? Where we've played in our bands. We play before the panel of staff. The staff are there like a panel of judges. I suppose I think of it as the N factor. It's always fun. It's always challenging. My band, they're great. I'm by far the oldest in the band. The next oldest is 24. Yeah, but the others are 19, 20, 18. But they're great. They're cool. I think we get on better than ever now. I think they've gotten used to me. I've gotten used to them. That's cool. Yeah, they're very cool. And very, very gifted. And that's great. So it was back to that normal timetable with all the normal things that I've probably covered to some degree before in previous entries into the blog. With the typed word and things. Then came, so it was back to that for sort of 3 weeks, really. And that was full on, lots of new stuff to work on, And, you get tired pretty quick. But you put the most into it that you can and get the most out of it that you can because you know that this is an opportunity you might never have had. I could quite easily just see myself gardening forever without anything like this ever happening. So now, as I'm here, in these days, I make the best of it, I don't always, things aren't always perfect and people aren't perfect, none of us are perfect. But you just get on and you make the very most of it because it's a very unique experience. So, and you do your best. So, and you respect all authority, whether, even if that authority is quite a bit younger than you. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to God. You respect authority. You respect the authority that is put in place. I'm not trying to tell you this. I'm sure you know this, but I'm just sort of reiterating that that's something that we always have to keep in mind, especially us older students. We have to constantly keep that in mind when we're there. We respect the system. We don't look down on anyone because they're younger. There's an authority thing there, and you respect it. That's cool. We are part of something that's unique, and it's what God's put in place. So it's great. So then came half term. Now by half term things weren't easy because I was struggling with a few things really. Just with wondering whether I could. I've hit that point a few times, but definitely in half term. I wasn't very well. A few of us weren't very well. We had bad colds and stuff, and it's just amazing how much that can drag you down. And for doing what we're doing here, you need to be 100%. You really do. That really came through to me. You really need to be 100%. So we were trying to keep going when we really weren't very, very well. Just with colds and things, nothing more than that. But it's just the general the general thing. And it was a time when I was struggling in certain ways, and I was still enjoying it. But I'm always enjoying it. Even in the hardest times, I'm enjoying this. But it was one of those times when I thought, oh, can I go on? Am I gonna get right through the whole year? And just I can't even remember now how to explain why that was, but it's just one of those times. Anyway, things got better through half term. Got rid of the cold. Had a chance to have a bit of space, and we carried on with our Bible work and things, because we have these Bible sheets every week. You see, Bible sheets. Yeah, it's just crazy. I could show you one. Oh, there you go. I'll show you one. Oh, isn't it brilliant? Isn't it brilliant what we can do with a video? There you go. This is the one I'm doing at the moment. I filled that out earlier. That's a Bible sheet. That's a Nexus Bible sheet. So there you go. We have one of these every week with 18 questions. 18 questions, and at the back we put 3 verses of Psalms and comment on them, and then we do a thing called Strands, where we write about how we see one of 5 themes coming out in this week's reading: Jesus, worship, salvation, covenant, or the kingdom of God. Interesting stuff, but it's just it's just quite a heavy schedule here. It's not like uni, apparently. Apparently at uni they have lots of parties and things. I think Nexus is very different to uni. I've never been to uni, so I don't really know about that. But from what I hear, they, those guys do work hard as well. But I guess it just works differently. From what I've heard and from what I've found, I think I can definitely safely now say that Nexus very much has the feel of a school. It doesn't feel like a uni by all accounts, and it doesn't feel really even like a college so much. It does feel like a school. It's like being at school. It's a funny thing, especially when you're my age. So, but hey, as I say, this is a unique season, and I make the best of it. So, God brought me here. He's not daft. So you just pour yourself into it, really. We really have this term, and it's been intense. It's really been quite intense at times. But anyway, so that was half term. So then we were back. For like the second half of the term, because we have 5 weeks before half term, and then we've got 6 weeks. Yeah, and so we were back to the normal core classes, and hello, yeah, and building up things that we would have to be assessed on, different exercises and things that we would have to be producing at the end of the term. So anyway, we had like 4 weeks of that, yeah. And then last week we had our assessment week again, so we had our latest lot of assessments. Now, I knew this one was going to be really hard. I knew it was going to be a lot harder. We had more to do this time. What we had to do was harder, technically. But I managed to pass everything last Monday, which is amazing, really. I thought I would have a few things left over to redo on the Thursday, and maybe even going into the 3rd term. But no, that didn't seem to happen. I don't know yet why. This is probably why I haven't put much on Facebook about it yet, but I don't even know yet that I've definitely passed the theory tests. And we had to do a group presentation. 4 of us in the class had to do like a blues presentation. I was one of those 4 that had to do a presentation on the style of blues. The other 4 had to do a presentation on the style of Latin. That was wonderful fun. We had the guys around here one evening to sort of go through that. That was the evening before we did it, yeah. And then on the Tuesday we did that. This is Tuesday of last week, in case I'm losing you. This is last week. That was great, but we still don't know how we did on those. But I know with all the playing pieces, I managed to pass them all, which in itself is a great thing. Is a wonderful thing. I prayed about it, and God answered the prayer. He really answered the prayers. It was wonderful. It was great. But it does leave you a bit drained, and but very, very satisfying, and there's a lot of blessing in it. And then this week that's just sort of come, today's Saturday, so this week that's just been, this has been Rag Week training week. So it's been full of cycling. So that's why on Facebook I've kept on going on about bikes and cycling and stuff, because that's really what this week's been about. What this is about, Rag Week is a fundraising initiative that Nexus do every year. It's happening this year, and it generally happens in late May. And it's happening this year in a week in late May. And every year they do different things for Rag Week. Rag Week stands for Raising and Giving. And the idea of the week is to raise money for Nexus to keep on going, because it's a charity. It's not a limited company, or I'm not quite up on all that, but I think it's a charity. It's a charity organisation. So it's like raising money for it as a charity, And I think it's pretty apparent they want to start a new Nexus out in South Africa or something. So that sounds amazing. We haven't been told much about it yet, but it sounds, the idea is amazing. So a lot of what goes on is to raise money to keep the college going, and because they try to keep fees down as much as they can, and in these difficult times and so on, economically, and this year, the challenge this year hasn't been in previous years, but the challenge that's unique to this year is, and this is what I'm in on, obviously, is they, over a period of 8 days in late May, we're going to be cycling, most of us, not all of us, most of us are going to be cycling to Amsterdam and back to Coventry within that 8 days. Amsterdam, of course, being the capital of Holland, or more correctly, the Netherlands. And we will cycle from Coventry over to Harwich, which is near Colchester, and then get a ferry over across the North Sea to a place called the Hook of Holland. The Hook of Holland, which is near Rotterdam and The Hague, if that means anything. I've never been to Holland, so then we cycle north to Amsterdam, and I think we go around in a circle. They were planning a circle, hopefully a nice flat circle. Well, should be pretty flat in Holland. And then we come back again, and the college are organising for us to be able to stay with sleeping bags in various houses from night to night as we reach different points. And this week that's just been was a training week for that week. It was a week for us to be able to to sort of prepare us for that, really, so it's not such a shock, because we're going to be having to cycle, come that week in May, we're going to be having to cycle about 75 miles a day or something. So that's what this week was about. A few people stayed behind at the college, as they will do in May, to form a support team. And what the support team does is, well, what they did this week was they were phoning lots of companies and places all over the place, I suppose, to try and generate some funding for this. And I think I'd probably still rather be cycling, really, even though it's physically hard. I mean, that's okay, I suppose. All these things stretch us in different ways. So, if you're not getting stretched in one way, you're getting stretched in another way. Well, that's fine. That's what we're here for. We're not here to sit around and be comfortable all the time. So that's fine. We want to grow. God wants us to grow. Obviously, that's cool. So a lot of us were out growing physically, while a few people were staying behind, working hard in a very different way, with a lot of stress of phoning people and stuff. And it's not me saying about being stressed, but they were stressed. It was hard for them. It was hard work for them, so they worked very hard. So just in a very different way. Now us, we cycled. On Monday we cycled, and we're all put in training teams. Our team cycled to just south of Leicester on Monday. Basically, in the end, on Monday we did about 65 miles. On Tuesday we did about 50 miles. It gradually went down, but yeah, Tuesday we did 50 miles-ish. Wednesday we did about 45 miles. Thursday and Friday, each day we did about 15, 16, 17, that sort of thing. And I can always add on when I cycle to Nexus and back from Nexus, because that's about a mile each way, so I can always add those on as well. So anyway, in the end, I've managed to cycle very nearly 200 miles this week, which I've never done before. with an old mountain bike that's not got suspension. But of course, some of you may know, or you may even be Mr. Jeff Smith, who gave me that bike. That's the bike I've been using. Yes, yeah. Well, a lot of people had road bikes, but on Wednesday I did get to borrow someone's hybrid bike, so that was cool. That's why I keep going on Facebook saying, has anyone out there got a hybrid bike? I must do this again, actually. I haven't done it for a few days. Time has been short, really. But I must ask again whether anyone out there has got a touring bike, a road bike or a hybrid bike that I can borrow for Rag Week. Yeah, which would make it easier. I've been over 20 minutes, I'm aware of that. So this week has been awesomely challenging. There's been a lot of times when I've been put in groups of people who I don't know very well. I mean, even just last night at the staff concert, I was working, on the tuck shop with a couple of people who I know, but don't know them so well. They're a lot younger than me, and it's good because I've really found that this term, maybe even more than the first term in a way, perhaps, that I'm getting put in different groups of people that I wouldn't necessarily choose to be with. Nothing personal, but we're all human. We would all naturally go with people we know best. So, I'm put in all these different groups. I've got my housemates here. I've got the band at the college. I'm in my class. I'm in my Rag Week training team. There's about 6 or 7 of us, sort of thing. And it's great because you're having to work all the time with different groups of people and adapt to different. And that's good for me to be adaptable, to keep being, to keep adapting. Because me, who didn't naturally find change very easy, and still don't, but more than ever now, I'm overcoming that. So I'm having to chop and change all the time in a way. So it's great. It's very good for my growth. So it's brilliant. So I moan less than I used to. I still can moan. I still can moan if I get really tired, but I am more able than ever to just take things as they come and just get on with it, basically. Which is great. So I've seen a real growth in myself there. In the first term, I saw some of that, and in this second term, I think I'm seeing even more of that, I'm sure. So, and it's great because it makes you feel young again because you're around very young people. And, that's an amazing thing. Not that, other people make you feel old, but you know what I mean. Sometimes what you're doing can make you feel old. I've been there, I know. A lot of us have been there. I'm sure you might be there right now, I don't know. But for me personally, this whole course is very challenging. Sometimes it's really tough, but it is, I just know it's so worthwhile and continues to be. And looking forward to coming back to the island for the Easter period. Well, some of it, because then I'm going to Bulgaria, then I'm coming back again, then I'm coming back here. So it's all a bit, again, chop and change. So that's fine. It kind of makes it interesting, it's going to be great to come back to the island for a bit. I do tend to miss it a lot, later in the term. So it's going to be nice to come back and see it again, see folks again. Yeah. So. I suppose I might as well wind it up because I've been it's virtually 24 minutes, so I might as well wind that up. But here you go. I hope this adds to the blog. So remember, this is my summing up of the second term of Nexus. Instead of typing it out, I've done this video blog to sum it up. God bless.